The Dolphins lose and the Eagles win. So who is it more about? I got to be the guy and say it's more about Tua and the throws he can't make. As much as the Dolphins weren't great and Tua wasn't great, you're down a touchdown late, you're driving, and you flail one up into the end zone, which was short, had too much air under it, and just died and gets intercepted, and that becomes the game. Here's Tua after his game.
It's tough when you come on the road against a really good team and you're not able to execute the way you expected to execute, not execute the way we wanted to execute. But you got to give props to those guys and their coaching staff. They did a real good job in preparing for us. There's actions off of those runs that we'd like to get. And when the run game's not going, the way you would expect it to go, that kind of mitigates the way we run pass. And then, it's more of just a drop back sort of game.
Right. And this is what people have been saying about Tua. Okay. When they say he's a system quarterback, what they're trying to say is like, look, if you let him get into the rhythm where they got you, it's sleight of hand, running one way, run the other, get rid of it quick. If you just make him into a quarterback where he's got to read it and find a way and thread the needle down the field, like that last pass is the perfect example of why he just does not have the arm talent to do it. Here's Mike McDaniel after loss.
You have to feel what it's like to play such a good team on the road. Your margin for error is so small, and it's an important building block along your progression. If you're going to lose games, you want it to be against a really good team, and you want it to hurt. There's the collection of coaches and players in the locker room right now are hurting because, they feel like they left some plays on the field for sure.
Left some plays on the field. Here's Nick Sirianni talking about Jalen Hurts.
Man, there's nobody else I'd rather be our quarterback in. He played his butt off tonight. He's tough. Y'all saw that he was going through a little something. So he is tough. He is tough. He is tough. This game always comes down to physicality and toughness. It always does.
Yeah, Sirianni's just basically Jalen Hurts' hype man, right? And Hurts was good, wasn't great, threw a pick. Doesn't look like he's running as well as he ran last year. When I'm saying it's not just that they weren't as successful running the football as they were last year. It's that he doesn't look like he's moving the same as he did last year, which he's not old. He hadn't taken a ton of hits, but maybe it's all the lifting, some of the bulk, and then some age creeping up on it. Nonetheless, the Eagles' defense was outstanding. They end up getting the win. Home crowd, great atmosphere, pick late, etc. It's all good. I think we know the Eagles can get there. Right? We know the Eagles can get there. Do I think the Niners are a little bit better? I do, because the Eagles have a similar type of, or probably better in terms of talent of defense, and similar level of talent of offense with the exception of a better running back. And then quarterback-wise, different. I'm not a huge Brock Purdy guy. I think he's got a ceiling, and I'm also not a huge Jalen, but they're both good. But I think the surrounding cast is better. I don't know. Those two teams appear on a collision course in the NFC with some others kind of throwing their names into the hat. But the Dolphins, we've seen them twice on the road against teams. And look, there's something there about Tua. Now, last year, late in the year, they went into Buffalo and they lost, but he looked pretty good. I don't see it. I don't see it at the top end there. I don't think there or he's good enough for how they play. That at some point he has to make some of these plays that I just don't feel like he's shown he can make. And I want to be clear on this, and we'll kind of dive more into it in the podcast. It's weird how he covers seasons. Like Major League Baseball, if you're a mainstream fan, you don't even pay attention to it. You might just numbers, you go to a game, You kind of watch. Every once in a while, you flip on an MLB network. We don't pay attention to it. NBA starts tomorrow night. And the NBA, we do check in with the NBA. First week of the season, Christmas Day, around Valentine's is when you have, the All-Star game. We kind of check some stuff out. And then the last couple of weeks of the season, we start to kind of, once the college NCAA tournament's over, like now we're kind of paying attention. They get the playoffs. The NFL, most of us watch it's the best. It's spread out. It's only on Sundays with two exceptions. We're completely up to date on everything NFL. We probably pay too much attention to the NFL. That's why we have these mass overreactions. I want to make sure not to have a mass overreaction of the Dolphins. But let's be honest. They haven't beaten any good teams. Right? They scored 70. It was against the Broncos, who were sending a message, probably their coaching staff, that we're just not prepared or not any good. And it wasn't like it was 70 the whole game. It spun out of control at the end of the game. Some things went bump in the night or whatever. But they're really a J.C. Jackson. If J.C. Jackson was a complete imbecile, and from losing to the Chargers, they lost to the Bills, and there's no shame in losing to the Eagles. They're really good. Plus, they're at home, and it's a Sunday night. And the Eagles played well defensively and played pretty well offensively. No shame in it. But how good are the Dolphins really? And last night's a great example of, and again, we're like 6 weeks in the season. We're not 6 weeks, we're 7 weeks in the season. They're good. They're fun. They're fast. But it's not a Super Bowl team. Again, doesn't mean can't become, but it does feel like he's a bit of a limiting factor. And he has been really good at times this year. And he's really good for what they do. But if you can get them off track of what they like to do and make them just stand back there and have to progression read or throw balls deep or deep outside the numbers, like it doesn't get there. There's just no other way. The Miami Dolphins can post as many videos of him throwing long passes in the preseason as they want to. In the real games, those balls died deep. It just died. This is from Peter King's column today. The Dolphins are 5-2. They're 5-0 against teams that are combined 8-25, 0-2 against the Bills and Eagles. Buffalo and Philadelphia combined have beaten Miami by 42 points. Is Miami a nice wild card playoff loser making progress with miles to go before they sleep? It's time for the real Dolphins to stand up. They play Kansas City in Germany in 13 days.